The US ally could soon make its AIIB plans official. Australia has been reluctant to stray from the US, but it now appears to be heading towards applying for membership. Greg Navarro has been following the story and joins us now from Sydney with more. Greg, what's the latest?
Well, Michelle, in fact, there's some confusion as to whether that vote to join the AIIB actually took place yesterday. That's because for much of the day, Parliament paused to pay tribute to former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser, who passed away last week. But while there is no official word at this point, there seems to be little doubt about what the government plans to do.
For months, it appeared the Abbott government was prepared to stand beside one of its strongest allies, the United States, when it came to joining the China-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank.
The question was more to do with whether the World Bank was already meeting these requirements and whether Australia should fall in line with that, which is very much the United States' preference in this case.
But now it appears Australia's stance has changed as opposition erodes and the number of countries signing up, including many in Europe, continues to increase.
Australia has really looked at the situation and been able to see that its interests don't necessarily lie with simply following the United States' line on this.
Last week, the federal treasurer said there was a lot of merit in the bank. He also renewed calls for transparency. Australia is reportedly prepared to become a founding member and invest more than $2 billion.
And it may receive a return in the future, because simply the fact of our economy being so reliant on Asia. And so if Asian economies are growing and our trade with those countries is growing, that inevitably is in Australia's interest.
The issue here for Australia isn't just a matter of economics, a matter of dollars and cents. It's also very much a political one, especially for a struggling government that's been forced to rethink a very unpopular budget. Despite the hard sell to the public and the risk of stepping out of line with the U.S., experts believe the Abbott government is now prepared to move forward, seeing the chance to join the AIIB as an economic opportunity Australia cannot afford to miss.
And again, no official word yet from the Australian government, but most people believe, given its change of heart, it is just a matter of time, and an announcement on the decision to join the AIIB could come sometime later this week. Michelle?
Well, Greg, despite that initial reluctance, Australia does now appear headed towards joining, but the decision may not be unanimous among the Abbott administration. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Look, the federal treasurer, Joe Hockey, is one of the members of that administration who's been pushing for Australia to join this bank for several months now, citing all of the economic benefits he believes the country and the region will reap. However, the Prime Minister and Foreign Minister have been opposed, presumably because of the influence from the United States. They've been citing concerns about transparency and governance, rather. Now, as I mentioned, too, remember, this is a government here that has struggled in the polls. The Prime Minister not long ago survived a leadership vote. This government has been forced to rethink that unpopular budget, and now it appears it is rethinking its position on whether to join the AIIB. Michelle?
All right, so some split minds over there. Thank you so much, Greg Navarro, live for us in Sydney.